It's first cut silage day today, so everything's a bit mad, but this morning Granda was ringing saying that I needed to sow some fertiliser in the cow grazing just to get it caught up to date, so we'd had to do, they're here with the mowers and we've silage to sort out and a tether to fix and everything's going on at once.
In your ear, you're the reason Daddy's not here.
I'm Connor Cochran and this is Glentask Farms. We're farming here between Portrush and Bushmills, farming in partnership with my brother Alexander and my dad Alistair. So today we're at first cut silage. We cut a bit during the week now and we're doing the rest here now today. This is Friday and we're hoping to lift again tomorrow and Saturday, and hopefully we'll get it all in good order. I suppose this time of the year is massively important. This day or these few days set up your whole winter in terms of the cow's feed for the whole year. This day really matters as to how much milk you're going to produce and how much meal you're going to have to feed over the whole winter basically. This day just comes down to pretty much your whole winter's feed comes down to one day. There was a lot of rain forecast for Wednesday night. We only got some rain. It's just one of those things, the stress, if you could get it dry for a week or 10 days and you knew there was going to be no rain, you wouldn't stress about it at all, but it never works like that here. So today we're out with a couple of tethers. A guy who works just on a Friday, Graham, he's out with one tether already there, and we're just got one other tether fixed there, and I'm going in it. Alexander and my dad, they're getting the silage and stuff ready. We have barriers to set on the ends here and covers to put up, and bits and pieces like that. They said they might spread a wee bit of slurry on some of the ground we cut earlier on in the week too, so that's pretty much the plan for today, and hopefully everything goes to plan. We have two Lely 10-20 tethers, but one of them we were using on Tuesday. I was starting into the last field on Tuesday and she broke the shaft, or broke the lining that holds the shaft, and then that dropped down and broke the shaft then, so she had three rotors on the outside then that weren't connected to it, so you had to split that apart, put a new shaft in, and then you had the retimer there. So we think we have her just back together again there now, so hopefully she's good to go. In this country, when the weather comes, you have no option, you just have to be ready to go. Like we have a 2-day window now, and you just have to go for it whenever the weather's here. You can't miss weather opportunities in this country, for they don't come very often, or else you end up with silage that's not the required quality for the cows. So that's the plan for today, and we hope all goes to plan.
Alexander, I'm Connor's younger brother, and today on the farm it's been pretty manic now, to be honest. We milk over 400 cows here. I suppose the roles in the farm are, the father would sort of prioritise serving cows and milking cows, and I would do a bit of the milking too, whereas my brother Connor would do all the feeding. And then we have a boy that works to us as well. Christy, he feeds the out farm in the winter time, and then in the summertime me and him usually start fixing and do projects. But my role in the farm is all winter I feed calves and I do the milking and anything else that needs done. Connor prioritises the grassland in the summertime. He does all the zero grazing and focuses on fertiliser and organising where the cows go and tries to keep on top of that side of things, and I sort of do all the others, try and keep cows right, cows' feet right, look stock, sex stock. So I suppose that's how we split ourselves up. Well, I suppose having separate roles in any farm, especially whenever brothers, a lot of people will know that, come on, out you go, shh. A lot of people will know that it always doesn't work, and I suppose to keep us from fighting all the time, we never really see much of each other unless it's at dinner time in the table, but I'll say it works all right at the minute, but we'll see down the line whether it works for the rest of our days or not. We do sort of in-house nearly everything. We don't do PDing, but we serve all our cows, and we try and do as much cow's feet as we can, and we sort of try and keep the cost down, that sort of things. We still get foot trimmers in one time a year, and the vet always has to come anyway. There's about 90 acres here as we sit, and then all the rest of it's up the road. I'd say we'd be farming 700 acres. So we would, but no, that's not all owned. There's a lot of that is McConaghy. Well, it's the same as anything. You're always at the mercy of everybody else whenever you're renting ground, and the likes of renting machinery, getting a contractor in, like they're all them things you're at a risk, and you just hope that you're doing a good enough job to let them see that you're able to look after it and keep the ground and treat it like your own. On this farm we have Montbelliard cows, which are crossed to a Holstein. We've sort of been doing it as the past, it must be over 10 years now. So it's just a two-way cross. We did try a three-way cross whenever we first started, but we sort of thought the cow was becoming too small and too refined, so we just grew Montbelliard once and then we serve it back to a Holstein every time. So the Montbelliard are a slightly hardier cow, we think anyway. You have less, I'll not say less problems for health problems, but maybe a little bit less maintaining rather than a high-flying Holstein cow at 13,000 litres, you know. So we sort of go for this herd's averaging just under 10,000 litres. Regards to lactations, we would probably get, there could be cows here on their 9th lactation, and at the same time we always find if a heifer does really well in the first couple of years, you never last that long. So you're trying to look for a middle of the road cow, even if you don't serve them to a sink straw, which is a heifer. We would just serve them to an Angus straw for beefing, and we always find that the calves are superior. They're far better than they would be in the Holstein, out of the Holstein. Try and sell them as early as we can, sort of a month, 6 weeks. And yes, we have quite a few people buy off farm. So there's a fellow there the past few years has come into us, and he sort of rears them to killing stage. So he could be taking over 100, and then there's another couple of people there who take 50, 60 at a time as well. So it works quite well for us. We're not really set up for keeping stock to finishing, so we just sell on, and yes, you'll probably get a bigger outcome at the end of it, but it's the extra work and the extra sheds and the extra feeding for nearly two years, 16 months to get them to that finishing stage. And you were talking about McConaghy earlier on. You'd have to rent a lot more of it just to keep the extra stock. So no, we sort of get them out as young as we can, try and get good prices for them, and then sort of focus more on the milking cows as best we can. My grandfather's father, he came here, he'll probably grin at me for not saying the right date, but it was the 1930s something. Whenever my granddad got married, his father moved away and they bought a farm in Ballymoney. When he started here, whenever he got married, he had 48 acres on this, and I think there was a similar amount of cows. Well, the middle 70s, he get closed. He lost the herd to tuberculosis, and then nothing to do. They had to go back into milk. If they'd any sense, they probably pulled the pin. But he went back into milk, and he went back in a bigger way and put in another partner in our out farm. So they're milking in around 260, 70 cows, 130, 135 between the two in the 1980s, which was a big task for anyone, for it was a lot of manual labour and everything wasn't as handy as it is now. So I say he was definitely a great driver in his time. Like. And I suppose he was born in 1940, so the war was just about in the middle of it. They couldn't get tractors or nothing over here at that time because the war was taking everything. So they come through tough times. I suppose we're coming through easy times. We think we're doing big things, you know, working a few late nights for a bit of silage, but I'll tell you, them boys they were men's men back then. Like.
I'm Alistair Cochrane. We're in the 10th of May 2024, and we have just mowed the remainder of our first cut. We mowed the first sort of 150 acres on Tuesday of this week and put it in on Wednesday. Reasonable enough shape. Ground was just all right and no more. I suppose that's the thing, the grass was ready before the ground was. We've been very fortunate that the sun has come out and we've had all pretty much dry. We had rain on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 mil, not a terrible amount. Other people not far away had none. So we didn't mow any more than we could have got lifted. So you're at the mercy of the contractor nowadays, and they could only come to mow it today, which has turned out great. And if it's in tomorrow evening and the sun has stayed with us, that'll be even better. The silage ground has come away very well. I don't know whether it was the slurry. We were fortunate. We got our slurry on. We kind of footed at it and got it on. Any time there was a couple of dry days, we went and did a bit and managed to have it all out. You know, pretty much just into the first week of March, we had it all out. That was sort of 1.5 million gallons for us, which is a fair bit. And we didn't do any messing when we got it out, so we're happy enough. That made an awful difference. Everybody's grass has grown well through the winter, surprisingly. I don't know, somebody said it's because there's no frost this winter, but I don't know. The ground has been almost waterlogged all winter. We couldn't get the ground ploughed, it was so slippy on top. It was burnt off since February time, and because there was no vegetation to dry out the soil, you couldn't get a tractor to move on it. And so we had to wait, and then it come a couple of dry days, and we were fit to make a start, dry weekend, and we made a start then on Monday morning, and we had it sowed by Thursday evening. We had the 50 acres ploughed and sowed, so it kind of worked very well. It was a week not as warm as this, but a dry week. Everything worked for us, but you need to be ready to move at those opportunities. Oh, when I was a child, we did our own silage at that time, and I don't remember any of the stress, but I remember wet times too. You're trying to get grass off, and way back in 1981, I remember, it was just a torture. 2-wheel drive tractors, no 4-wheel drive tractors, single axle trailers, and I remember we were precision chop silage at that time, but if a lump of grass stuck behind the wheel of a trailer, I was you stuck, you were beat. I suppose they weren't as focused on dry matter quality and intakes then as they are now. They used acid as a preservative, and you could have made good silage out of anything. I suppose farming back then, there was more profit without the expertise of having to be as cost focused. Good quality silage makes the difference between profit and loss over the winter. For us, especially a winter like this where milk price was nothing too fantastic. Like our silage last year was good, and we were able to feed 1.5 kilos less than we were the year before. Not that our silage was bad the year before, but it was just wetter and slightly more, well, a wee bit more stemmy, but not a lot. The sun didn't come out and it didn't dry out the grass, and we thought we had it to edit and all the rest of it. Didn't dry it out, the moisture was still in the grass. First cut will be in that far silo, that'll be full. The first cut, there'll probably be some have to get in here. Last year we got caught with the third cut. Coastal showers come in, and we cut it dry, had it kicked out, it was in good shape. Coastal showers come in that morning, and it was forecasting a team the next day. Same thing, a few miles away, no rain. And we put it in, and it only was 19% dry matter, and we could hardly get it into the silos that we had for it. We had to turn around and strip this silo and put a pile of stuff on here that we didn't intend to. Silo down the road should have held it. That's just, it increases your bulk dramatically. 94, 95, McConaghy's have done the job. They're local to us here. I remember my father going to see Bob about doing it. There was another man doing it, and I weren't all that happy with the job they were doing. And I went to see Bob, and Bob's wife at that time, she says, "John, I don't know whether we can guarantee we can get your grass in when you want it in." And my dad, he says, "Well, sure, we'll give it a go." And they're still here. And saying that, there's been a long number of years that was easier for us to get our grass in because there were less people looking to cut early. Now, everybody wants to go on the one day. I mean, I think they have 10 people, you know, between last week and this week. And the thing is, like ourselves, everybody's acreage is increased and it's massive pressure. They have 2 big outfits, but still, you know, if somebody's going to be not happy somewhere along the line, I just hope it's not me.
Well, your first cut is your main winter's feed. And yes, you can make a good second cut and try and make up for it and mix the two cuts if you can, but realistically, if you don't get your first cut the way you want it and the quality you would desire, it can be make or break over the whole winter in terms of even fertility and milk yield and all those things have a knock-on effect if the grass silage is not correct. You know, it means everything to your whole 7 or 8 months of winter that we have here come down to this one day, and it's so important. Like, people ask why farmers get so stressed about silage, but in terms of how costs have escalated in farming and meal costs and feed costs and all them other costs, it's just, if you can get this right, it's the difference in making profit and not making profit, or making no money and making some money. You know, it comes down to that, really. Yeah, of course we feel the pressure. You know, it would be nice if we could get just 10 dry days and you could just ring the contractor and be like, oh, here, cut it someday this week or whatever. You know, that would be nice. If you had a settled weather window, you really wouldn't feel much pressure about it. You know, there's been times where maybe one cut a year where you might get a nice settled spell of weather and the grass is just how you would want it cut, and you just ring him and he says, oh, I'll not get to you to 2 days time. That's no issue, sure, whenever you get there. But whenever the weather's like this, it's just touch and go, and you do feel the pressure, but you know they're trying to do the best they can for you and accommodate you and that way, and you hope you go with it and you hope the weather stays there and you hope you get it in. I worked a contractor here for a couple of years, nearly full time, and pretty much carried it silage all summer with McConaghy's. So and I enjoyed getting away, and Dad was more than happy to let us away. Like, Alexander done the same. He's worked to another contractor as well in the summertime, and just it's nice to get away from the same thing every day, you know, and chat to different people and a bit of crack and one thing and another. So I done that for 10 years, and I did enjoy it. Like, a few nights you can tell stories about now, but I'm not sure you can say them on camera. It wasn't actually that you were loving grass so much, it was just the fact you're enjoying what the chat was going over, or whatever big stories was being told and stuff like that, you know. Like Tiny was always a good man for telling big stories in the middle of the night, like keep you going all night sort of thing. I suppose having a good relationship with your contractor is everything, and farming nowadays, like you're coming down to your silage matters so much now because everything's at stake. Whereas it used to be, if you made bad silage, it didn't really matter so much, so the costs involved weren't just the same in terms of producing milk, whereas the costs now are just astronomical. So if you make bad silage or you don't get a cut for a week, it could be different thousands over your winter time, like, or even tens of thousands maybe if you get it badly wrong. So yeah, you need to have a good relationship with your contractor and try and have them on side and do stuff to help them. Like, you know, it's as much as you helping them out as them helping you at the end of the day. Like we're not feared to muck in and give them a hand if they need a carton or they need a shovel on or whatever they need. You know, you try and accommodate them, for they're trying their best to do the job for you too. So the compactor is a relatively new thing. I used it on Wednesday for the first time ever. Just a neighbour of ours has bought one for hiring out, and I thought, well, we'll give it a go and see how we get on, and was very, very impressed with it. It weighs 3.5 tonne. A bit sceptical whenever we got it, but really impressed with the time the end of the day came. So I'm hiring it on Saturday again, and hopefully it'll do a good job now. Somebody said to me, first of all, you need to have a relationship with your children. So that's what I sort of focused on when they're young. Did things with them all the way growing up. And so therefore, when you get to this stage, they still want to have a relationship with you. Whereas if you had stood on them all their life, then they don't want to know you whenever they come to their teens. Whereas we still all enjoy each other's company. Everybody has got something to say that's of relevance, and try and give them all a place. And I'm not the dominant figure, and if they think this is an idea that's worth pursuing, well, then we'll pursue it. And if it's not, well, we sort of weigh it up first. And they've all different skill sets, and I think that's a help. You know, Connor would have a great understanding of how business operates and how all the financial side of things would work. Not saying that Alexander doesn't, but Connor would be very much understand if I feed more meal, there's less money type thing, and we would monitor that very closely and watch it and, you know, kind of be organised that way. Alexander, as you've seen, him and me be in the middle of fixing stuff all the time. I suppose we get a bit of kick out of that, and that brings a bit of variety to your day.
And I suppose that's really, I think communication lines are the main thing, you know, and if somebody says something that's, let the steam blow off first before you blow off, because the least said is always the easiest mended. Say going forward, I'm a positive about farming in general. I think there's an awful lot of things out there to not be positive about, but I mean, there are two types of people in this world. Those are the cup that's half full, you know, they'll find a way of getting through things. Those are the cup that's half empty, they'll let it bury them. So we're trying to look on the bright side most of the time. And as an industry, I think there's an awful lot of good points about it. Food production is essential, but I don't know, the government thinks that they'll just fly it in from here, there, or everywhere, and yet at the same time they're trying to promote this green image. I mean, I think the whole slurry thing that they're talking about, running slurry through a separator, which is no bad thing, but then the separated slurry going through a digester, and then after that they're going to put it on a boat and flog it away out the road. It's not their problem anymore. That just to me seems bonkers. Like, who pays for all that? And yet we're the bad guys. All we're trying to do is make a living, look after the land as best we can, farm it as best we can. And I mean, the whole technological side of things, after the war, it was always food production. Maybe there wasn't an awful lot of understanding into how to look after the soil and that sort of thing. Whereas now, that whole side of things is becoming more important. Like every meeting you go to, it's about soil health and looking after your land and managing it to get the best out of it without poisoning it, without, you know, abusing it. And I'm all for that because, you know, we're stewards. You've just had to pass it on to the next generation and hopefully they look after it and it does them the same turn as it's done me.
It's kind of hard to describe, but it is just like a way of life. And you get up every day and you go in and you enjoy what you do and you love seeing what you do, and it's the people too. It's as much as people as anything, you know. People call into the yard, you know, you're more than happy to chat to them, like, you know, and seeing different faces and friends, you know, and young farmers and stuff like that. You get to meet so many friends throughout the country, you know, and it is like one big massive community. I know it's so cliche to say it, but that is really what it's like. We'll try and keep doing what we're doing here, and hopefully the farm keeps going the way it is, and we do keep trying to do the best job we can and produce the milk the best way we can.
There's some days you think to yourself, you could do without it the very best, and then there's days like today where everything's not going well, but we're busy and we're enjoying ourselves. You wouldn't want to change it for the world. Like I say, I'm probably here, if I'm blessed enough to have children and they have children, and I'm a granda like my granda, and they still let me be on the yard like we do, I'd be happy enough to kick them out, but whether they would let me stay and voice my opinion or not, I don't know.